67 seconds separate the kill from the theft. The prize, still warm, lies in the calcified basin as the shadow lengthens across sintered clay. 150 kilograms of indifference approach at a walking pace. 20 hearts, still hammering at 290 beats per minute, make the calculations simultaneously: retreat or extinction. The Brotherhood scatters like spilled paint across bleached bone. To understand how they arrived here, dawn has not yet broken the lattice. In the Labyrinth of Spines, strobe fragmented light finds 20 bodies compressed into dappled obscurity. They are mechanisms of survival wrapped in brushstroke patterns, each coat a fragment of the ancient, shattered savanna itself. The trigger lies dormant. A hunt begins only when the quantitative threshold is reached: 10 synchronized exhalations, sharp as percussion. 10 sneezes to ratify the covenant of pursuit. Fewer, and the pack remains folded into thorn shadow, conserving what cannot be replaced. The first sneeze is a question posed to the collective nervous system. The second, an echo seeking consensus. By the seventh, muscles begin their transformation from cold, contracted coils to fluid potential. This is not democracy. It is a biological parliament, governed by thresholds older than memory. The painted coats shift in fractured light, each marking a unique identifier in a grammar written across 2 million years of thermal saturation and metabolic debt. The rally is a neural cascade made audible. 20 becomes 1. The dissolution is voluntary, absolute. Individual hunger yields to the hunger of the lineage. They move now as a single distributed organism, 20 pairs of eyes networked into omnidirectional surveillance, 20 pairs of lungs preparing to exchange moisture for distance. The Brotherhood aligns along vectors calculated by ancestral imperative. What emerges from the thorn lattice is not a group, but a kinetic totality, already committed to the mathematics of exhaustion. The journey begins. They leave the protection of the thorns for the Veldt of Exhaustion, an infinite horizontal plane of sintered clay fractured into hexagonal plates. Here, shade is memory. Here, the sun strikes from 90 degrees, vertical and absolute, rendering all surfaces the color of burnt umber and bleached bone. Heat shimmer distortion transforms the horizon into liquid uncertainty. The pack enters this arena carrying the weight of probability. 80% success if the geometry holds, 0% if the formation fractures. The cardiovascular system expands to operational maximum. Heart rates climb toward 250 beats per minute, a threshold sustained not for seconds, but for a duration measured in kilometers. This is the gift of a high cardiac-to-body mass ratio, an evolutionary bargain struck in blood and distance. They arrange themselves in staggered formation, rotating the thermal load. managing the accruing metabolic debt. Each kilometer costs 1.2 liters of respiratory moisture. The body is a reservoir that empties as it runs. They are burning themselves as fuel. The prey is sighted across the calcified basin. Nervous geometry in the shimmer. The impala sense the shift in air pressure, the subliminal percussion of synchronized paw strikes translated through clay plates. This is the arena where probability collapses into binary outcome. The pack does not pause. To pause is to allow lactic acid to crystallize in muscle fiber. To pause is to grant the prey the gift of distance. They are committed now to the point of no return. The hunt is ritual geometry, enacted at 55 kilometers per hour. This is exhaustion hunting. Not the explosive ambush of the spotted cousin, but the relentless mathematics of endurance. The prey sprints. The pack sustains. Stage 1 biology transforms. Muscles transition from cold contracted potential to fluid oxygenated efficiency. The formation is a net cast across space and time, each runner a node in a distributed calculation. They read the prey's fatigue in the angle of its stride, the decreasing amplitude of its bounds. The leading runner takes the maximum thermal load, positioned in the wake of displacement, breathing air already heated by the prey's panic. For 3 minutes, this individual carries the weight of the pack's collective hunger. Then, rotation. A seamless lateral shift, and another takes the burning point. One slip in this choreography. One moment of ego preserved over collective need, and the 80% success rate dissolves into the mathematics of starvation. They do not choose altruism. Altruism is encoded in their genome. The marathon reaches its peak. 11 minutes. 17 kilometers. The silence of high-velocity displacement is punctuated only by the wet, syncopated rhythm of panting, a respiratory metronome synchronized across 20 thoracic cavities. Each exhalation carries moisture that will not return. Each inhalation draws superheated air across tissues designed to extract oxygen from thermal punishment. They are, in this moment, pure function, biological machines operating at the edge of systemic failure. The kill is made in the calcified basin. 23 seconds of coordinated dismemberment, the pack already consuming even as the prey's neural activity ceases. Then, the shadow. 3 lionesses emerge from heat distortion, moving with the mechanical certainty of kleptoparasites. In high-density zones, 80% of wild dog kills are stolen within minutes. 150 kilograms of apex indifference versus 20 exhausted endurance specialists. The calculation is immediate. The pride does not rush. They do not need to. Physics dictates the outcome. The metabolic deficit trap closes. The pack retreats. Stage 2 biology now critical. Heaving flanks, cardiovascular systems pushed past sustainable thresholds, muscles accumulating debt that will take hours to clear. They have run 20 kilometers. They have made the kill. And now they watch from 30 meters as the pride settles over their work like a collapsing shadow. The young at the den are 9 kilometers distant. The young do not know the meaning of waiting. But they do not mourn the meat. The Brotherhood does not grieve the stolen calories visible in the settling dust. They celebrate what the lions cannot steal, the internal storage. Specialized gastric pouches retain 90% of nutrient density, despite high-velocity displacement. They consumed while killing. They stored what mattered. The 10-kilometer return will cost them nothing they do not already possess. The lineage survives, not in the carcass left behind, but in the liquid energy carried forward in distended bellies. The return to the den is measured in precise intervals, Stage 3 biology enacted. Distended bellies sway with each stride, biological vessels transporting sustenance across the final kilometers. The painted youth emerge from the spine lattice like apparitions rendered in the same brushstroke pattern as their providers. 11 pups, each one a genetic continuity, each one the reason the Brotherhood dissolves ego for collective purpose. The communion begins with urgency, high-pitched begging calls, pups swarming the returning adults. Regurgitation is not expulsion, but precise energy transfer. Liquid biomass delivered directly to developing systems. A hyena patrols the perimeter, drawn by olfactory signals. The den is vulnerable. The adults form a defensive semicircle even as they feed the lineage. Multitasking is luxury. Survival is the simultaneous management of multiple existential threats. The next generation consumes the liquid energy. Each swallow a transaction against the high thermal load that governs every waking hour in this bleached geometry. The lineage is secured, at least for now, at least for this rotation of the sun across its vertical axis. These pups will learn the sneeze threshold. They will learn the staggered formation. They will learn that survival is the voluntary dissolution of self into the distributed intelligence of the pack. The hunters rest now in the dappled refuge of acacia shadow. The separation is instant. The unified organism fractures back into 20 individuals, each nursing private deaths of muscle and moisture. They do not speak. The work is complete. The narrative expands. This pursuit, 20 kilometers across thermal saturation, the theft, the return, will be etched into the genetic memory of the lineage. Tomorrow, the cycle repeats. The day after, again. For 2 million years, this Brotherhood has run the same calculation, expenditure versus survival. The balance is delicate, maintained stride by stride. Dawn breaks once more through the labyrinth of spines. Strobe-fragmented light finds 20 bodies compressed into dappled obscurity. Somewhere in the collective respiratory system, the first sneeze, then the second. The covenant is proposed again to muscles and neurons older than individual memory. The eternal chase continues at dawn, not because they choose it, because they are it. Weavers of dust, bound by thresholds, painting their survival across bleached bone, one synchronized breath at a time.